Welcome back, racers, to round 3 of the Super Sunday Cup. We are in the Lancia Delta HF Intergrale, an absolute beast of a car. Look at that MARTINI livery, ready to go, sitting in the garage, overlooking the water. Let's get into it. So here we go then, let's recap after round 2. Crizzy in first, myself in second, Stephen, Dylan, Antomix, Smirnoff, Rob, Hotsy, Gamer Mode, and Coil round out the top 10 overall points. The gap at the top only 17. Let's see if I can get a good round in round 3. And it begins with sprint race number 1 around the Maggiore Center layout. And let's look at the grid for the first sprint race. There we go, Gamer Mode in first, Stephen in second, Crizzy in third, me in fourth, Dylan rounding out the top 5. Didn't really have a very good qualifying, but we'll see what we can do in this race. I didn't really feel like I was at the races, so to speak, in this round, but still very good races, very good battles coming your way. So here we go then, got off to a good start. Crizzy on the inside, got a nice gap behind us as well. Dylan just showing his nose there, going a little bit deep, managing to hold the inside into turn 2. Very short track this, only a couple of corners. I like to do shorter sprint races, maybe the smaller tracks, because sprint race number 1 is around this layout, and then sprint race 2 is the reverse, and then obviously we go to the GP track for the feature race. So only a small grid today, only 9 races, but that doesn't mean we're not going to get some very good battles over the course of the next 3 races. The Hotsy there, sending it up the inside. No love lost there. Is he going to let me pass? I think he's flashing his hazard just to say, oops, sorry, missed my braking point. What I did do with the Lancia is I did give it a little bit more power than the standard Lancia. I think it's N300, N400, whatever it is, but I did give it that little bit more power, so it's a little bit more exciting. There we go then, Hotsy just letting me up the inside, sort of apologising for that early send into the last corner, and we're back into 4th place. So a little bit more about the Lancia. It is 4-wheel drive, so it does tend to understeer coming out of corners, and it being one of those lower end class cars, it is all about momentum. Only a couple of corners on this track as well, so it's really important to get good exits and stay in the slipstream of the cars in front. As we come into the last corner, I'm just going to get it all wrong. Maybe lack of practice driving in people's slipstream and carrying that extra bit of speed into corners, but that's going to be a big mistake and see me drop from 4th down to 6th, and it is going to stay like that until the start of lap number 5, where Hotsy just goes a little bit deep into that turn number 1 and then messes up that line into turn number 2, and we are firmly in that slipstream. Just one mistake in these slower cars can really upset a player's rhythm. Now this is a perfect opportunity to go for a move. Hotsy is a little bit on the back foot after a couple of mistakes, and this is the perfect time to strike. So coming up into this last corner, moving to the inside, later on the brakes, are we going to be able to go up the inside? Yes. Just alongside of him, he did turn in, and then you saw him react. Bold move from us, most definitely, but it was on. Haven't been able to hold the position though. He still holds 5th. Can we go around the outside of him into turn number 1, later on the brakes? Really close, rubbing the door there, but no, not quite. I have to tuck in and just settle for that 6th position there. Okay then, coming on to the last lap of the race, lap number 11, firmly in the slipstream of Hotsy. He's made the same mistake he did earlier on, which is going to mess up his line into turn number 2. We're going to get that switchback. Oh, there's nearly contact there. We are up to 5th place on the final lap of the race, but we did not get a good exit out of turn number 3. We've gone wide onto the grass, and that's going to give Hotsy the inside and run all the way up these sweeping corners up to that final corner. We did briefly have 5th place, but it is not gone our way as we come into the braking zone, into the final corner. Hotsy is going to hold on to that 5th place. Really good battle in sprint race number 1 with him. Really could have had that 5th place, but just as we went into that right-hand corner, we just touched that big orange curb and unsettled the car. GG's to Potsy there. And let's have a look at this Sprint Race 1 result leaderboard. So here we go then. Gamer mode in 1st, Crizzy 2nd, Stephen 3rd, Dylan 4th, Potsy 5th, me 6th, 7th is Smirnoff, Shapaps, Taps and Bean Yeeted, and Stephen there with the fastest lap in race, and gamer mode had the extra 2 points for the qualifying. So there you go. After race 1, those are the points on the board as we head into sprint race number 2. So obviously a reverse grid from the results of sprint race number 1, and also those top 3 racers will have to serve a drive-through penalty. So gamer mode, Crizzy and Stephen all having to serve that drive-through penalty as we start in 4th position. Sprint race number 2, can we go about finishing further up the field? Really need to get some points on the board if we're going to close down Crizzy at the top of the overall points leaderboard. There we go then, a very good start. Seems like Shapaps Taps didn't get quite the start that he wanted in front, as we're kind of behind him. Am I going to go for a move up the inside into turn number 1? We got Smirnoff on the inside. Smirnoff braking nice and early. He may have just got a tap from Potsy behind on the outside there. Shapaps Taps nearly into the wall, but managing to stay out of too much trouble. But there we go, Potsy up to 3rd. Not really sure what happened. Didn't have my radar on, so I couldn't see it. But no one is talking about it. A little bit of contact between Potsy and Smirnoff there. Smirnoff coming out on top in that 2nd position. Is Potsy going to look up the inside coming into this corner? Yes, he is. Bit of an aggressive move there from Potsy. May have to watch that over again with the race stewards after the race. But here we go, rounding out the final corner of the lap. Dylan on the outside, Potsy on the inside of Smirnoff. Little bit of contact there again. Really turning into some sort of ferocious rivalry between them. Dylan got a nice run out of the corner, gives Smirnoff a little bump as we go on to lap number 2. Pretty crazy first laps. Dylan there on the left, he does have that slipstream. Smirnoff braking a little bit too early there. Dylan goes in the back of him. That results in Smirnoff going into the back of Potsy, and we come out on top as Potsy obviously goes a little bit deep from that ricochet, that concertina effect between Dylan and Smirnoff. But everything seems to have calmed down now, and all of this commotion being yeeted has managed to open up a little bit of a gap at the front as we come into the 2nd to last corner there, and a little bit of a tap in the back of Smirnoff, but letting him hold his position as we look for that sweeping move there around the outside. Just going to move up into 2nd place. Let me know in the comments if you thought I should have gone past him, because obviously the corner before the overtake I did tap into him, so that might have changed his run out of that next corner. But let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm always up for a little bit of discussion. I probably should have just let him have the position for another couple of corners as I do it again to being yeeted, and this time I am just going to hold on and make sure I don't overtake him, because that was a substantial hit, a bigger hit than maybe it was on Smirnoff. I'm not even sure. I'm trying to remember back to the race if I even felt contact with Smirnoff or not, but it's always best to just make sure you give the position back if you think you've done something wrong. I think that, you know, that's part of this whole community thing as well, is, you know, trying to drive with as much respect as possible as we do send it up the inside into turn number 1. And Shapaps Taps also coming out pretty well there, getting past Bean Yeeters as we head onto the back straight and coming through the sweeping S's now. We are kind of side by side. Is there going to be any contact? We do have the inside for the 2nd kink. Shapaps Taps there loses out. We have Bean yeeted up the inside. Is he going to yeet it up the inside? Yes, he does. Nearly contact, but he is going to have the inside for this left-hand corner. Can we hold it around the outside? We are carrying a little bit more speed than it. There is going to be a little bit of contact. We managed to hold it together, hit the apex nicely, and as we come on to lap number 7, 4 minutes to go on the clock, we are in 1st place and looking pretty good for it. So then, jumping forward, coming on to the last lap, we have got rid of Bean Yeeted and Shapaps Taps, and we now have Dylan Cliff biting at our heels. Here we go then, coming onto the last lap. We have to have a good one. He does have that slipstream, so making sure we hit all of the corners perfectly is going to thwart his advances on us. That sounds a little bit sexual, but we are going to carry on with the racing. 10 seconds left then. This is going to be the last lap. We did get a nice exit from turn number 1. Blue sectors as well, so obviously putting in pretty good personal sectors. Hitting the apex nicely. They're not going to give him any space. Just going to cover that inside semi-defensive line, making sure I stay on these rumbles. Coming through the final corner here, hitting the apex nicely. That is going to be a sprint race number 2 victory as we go over to the inside wall and celebrate with the pit crew over there. That is going to be a win and a handful of much needed points there. There you go, Stephen getting the fastest lap as well. Myself, Dylan, and Bean Yeated grabbing the final spot on the podium. That is his first podium ever in the Super Sunday Cup. And looking at the points after race 2, sees me and Dylan moving up into 2nd and 3rd. Crizzy there, not a good result in race 2 for him. And that is going to be good for me as I do gain a couple more points on him. Here we go then, coming into race number 3, the feature race for the day. Let's have a look at the lineup. And as you can see there, Crizzy is on pole, so he does start in first and has that 2-point advantage as well by obviously getting the fastest lap in qualifying. We are starting in 4th position, so not too bad, but it can always be better. Making sure I put it on 5 to the rear. Obviously rear brake bias helps out the 4-wheel drive cars with the amount of understeer that they have. And coming into turn number 1 then, we are in 4th position, looking good for it. Ooh, Gamer Mode there, just poking his nose up the inside. Issues here, as this is the GP layout now, so obviously a much longer track, which just means there's more corners to make mistakes on, basically. I did no practice for this round, and it is going to show over the course of this feature race, as I'm just once again not at the races. Maybe just a little bit of a booty tap there by Gamer Mode, forcing me a little bit wide, but no harm done, and we're still in the slipstream of 3rd place in front of us. Coming into one of the most awkward corners in the whole game, as you've got to really master trail braking, and it seems like all 3 cars in front there had the same idea of just running wide. Nice and easy there. 2x2 coming into the S's. Gamer Mode, being the smart boy that he is, just backing out. It looks like these 2 in front are side by side, not really getting their entry angles correctly. Really important section of the track this, as getting a good run just like Game Mode has there will just give you the best, smoothest run up the back straight. I couldn't figure out why I was going so slow the whole race. Maybe 20-25 minutes into the race, I figured out that if you change into 4th gear earlier coming through those S's, then you actually go 5, 10, 15 kilometers an hour faster up the back straight, and I didn't figure that out until the last 5 minutes of the race. So that just goes to show that you've got to practice if you want to be good at anything. There you go, there's your lesson for today. But there we go, lesson over, and focusing back on the race now, as well, we're in 5th position. We've obviously dropped 1 position. Smirnoff behind us as well. Shout out to Smirnoff as well, who stayed within probably 1.5 seconds of me the whole race, which is really good, consistent driving from him. And what was not consistent is a little bit of driving there from Stephen, as he does get a little bit wayward coming through those corners. Maybe a bit of dirty tyres, as he does send it up the inside here, which does force us to run a little bit wide. And look at that contact, that little instant between us has really opened up the gap to 3rd. He obviously just lifts off and gives me that position back, and he did say sorry in the lobby afterwards, so all is good. But we have lost a ton of time to 2nd and 3rd. Just look at the radar in the bottom right hand corner of your screen. There is a bit of contact, and maybe a little bit more contact coming through there. I don't know what was going on. Maybe there should have been a couple of racing incidents for the stewards to look at, but we're just gonna agree to just turn a blind eye, basically. And we are gonna keep our 4th position and let them squabble back there. Oh my god, they are battling hard, and you can see how much of a gap that opened up between me and them. Anyway, lap number 5, Stephen has managed to catch up, and he sends it up the inside, coming into that real big banky boy, but goes a little bit too deep, and that allows us to get that switchback, get that cutback, which puts us back into 4th position. We're not going to stay in 4th position for too long, unfortunately, as we make a mistake coming into turn number 1, just like Potsy did in race number 1, and that's going to promote Stephen up to 4th position. He was just so much faster than me at this combo. It was pretty disgusting, and I've said it once and I'll say it again, I was just not at the races. I didn't understand the track, I didn't understand the car, and I didn't understand how they worked together. Anyway, lap number 8, Smirnoff still in that 1 second gap, but looking forward, Stephen has had a big moment and he is off the track momentarily. He had some very good pace, as you can tell by the fastest lap marker over on the left hand side of the screen. He is the fastest on track right now, but he has made a mistake looking around the outside, coming into the S's. Then that's going to be denied. He's going to go a little bit deep. He is closer to the apex for the apex number 2. We are going to go around and run over apex number 3, which gives us that better run onto the back straight here. But this is still in that time that I have not figured out how to change gear properly on the back straight. So look at that, look how close he's getting. This is obviously before the new update with the slipstream and stuff as well, so slipstream is still very OP in this round as we hit the apex nicely. But coming up this little straight before we go into the sweeping corners, he does get a better run out of that corner. He is on the outside. If you're looking at the radar, is he going to try and hang it around the outside here? Is there enough space for me to come across him? No, there isn't. I have to give him the space. He takes it nicely, and he's going to have the inside for this right hand corner here. Just, you know, some good respectful driving, and there we go. He is obviously the faster driver on this combo, and sometimes you've just got to let those faster players through. I'm a little bit deep there, and probably pushing a little bit too hard now. Coming to the final corner then, we've got about 10 minutes 30 left. Coming into it, hitting the apex, we're going to receive a little tap in the booty from Smirnoff. That is going to just push us off the track, but he holds up, realizes it, and lets me keep 5th place. And that is going to be it for the feature race. Nothing else really happens. You see Smirnoff staying within that 1 second gap. So, you know, some really good average consistency from us both there, but the other guys were just on another level for this race. There we go, Dylan Cliff taking that 1st position away from Krizzy and Stephen with that fastest lap of the race. So let's look at round 3's points before adding it to the overall points. Dylan Cliff coming out on top with 87 points, an absolute monster showing from him. Gamer Mode in 2nd with his most points scored ever in the SSC. Krizzy, Stephen, myself, Smirnoff, Be Needed, Shapaps, Taps, and Potsy with that unfortunate disconnection at the end. And this is what it's done to the overall points after round 3. The gap has been increased at the top, but the top 4 stay the same. Gamer Mode moves up 4 positions, and Shapaps Taps creeps into the top 10 leaderboard. All to play for in round 4 then, really looking to get some big points to close that gap at the top. Round 4 then is in the 458 Italia at Sardinia, and boy oh boy does it have some fantastic racing on show. Thank you for watching, liking and subscribing. Thank you to the channel members for doing what you do, and we'll see you in the next one.